Good morning, class. I'd like to do the other part, part 3 of 10A. This is on quiz 11. Problems up through 45 types are on today's quiz, which will come with this video. Okay. This is called solids. This is three-dimensional shapes. Like this is a circular shape. Okay, so this might be like a basketball or a donut hole, something round that you can hold in your hand, three-dimensional. Okay, so this time we're going to do the surface area. Surface tells you that it's three-dimensional versus flat, like a plain old circle that we did yesterday. Okay, so the surface area means you have this, this round object, like this, and I want to wrap, this is my dog's ball, I want to wrap it completely on the outside and give it as a present. So I want to cover the surface area. So here's the formula, 4/3 pi r squared. Area squared, remember? So we'll pretend that this is 6 inches. So we're going to go 4/3. The pi, remember we were going to leave that alone. R is 6 squared. Now, remember, leave the pi alone and do just the two numbers. So it's going to be 4/3 times this 36, and that's going to give you 48, and then we drop in the pi, and area is inches squared. Okay? I hope that that's clear. The next thing we're going to do on a sphere, S-P-H, that sounds like an F, sphere, is open up the ball and pour in water. How much water will the ball hold? Okay, so that formula is 4 pi r cubed. Oh, and I'm sorry, all these formulas are on page 585. Okay, so you're going to go 4, leave the pi, don't touch pi, r cubed is 6 cubed. Okay, 6 times 6 times 6 will give you that, and you get 36 times, is that 96? I don't know what it is. You can figure it out for me. But 4 times 6 cubed is 864. Then you stick in the pi. And volume, as I told you earlier yesterday, is a cubic relationship. So that's inches cubed. Okay? Any question on that? One other thing, though, I want you to make note is this is a diameter, and that's 12 inches. Okay? None of our formulas involve the diameter. So if you're given a diameter, hint, hint, always cut it in half. Okay? Let me get ready for the next formula. Okay, Jeff just told me that I mentioned donut holes. I don't mean a hole in the donut. I mean the hole that you eat out of the donut for the sphere. Okay. But now we're going to talk about a cube. You know, like our dice or this small box. Okay. You can see that all the sides are the same. Top, bottom, they're all the same. And there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at this. 6, okay? The surface area, if I wanted to wrap this and not overlap any of my new paper, I would say 6 times the side length, which in my case is 4 centimeters squared. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 6 is 96 centimeters. This is an area problem, squared. That's an easy one. The volume. So that this time I open it up and I fill it with water or sand or gravel or something, okay? Volume is a cubic relationship. So I put the side and I cube it. How simple is that? 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64 centimeters cubed. Okay? So anytime you get this, you know, you're in luck because it's such an easy problem. Next we have a rectangular solid. Think a box of Kleenex, okay? Box of cereal, a brick, and in geometry they have a special name for this, something that looks like this, not a square or a cube, but rather rectangular. It's called a parallelepiped. Parallel, because the sides are parallel, parallel. Piped, for many sides. I think that's kind of a nice word. So in this parallelepiped, we have, let's see, the length, this is the length, is 4. The width, this is the width, is 3. And we'll call this feet, and the height is 2 feet, okay? So we want to find the surface area. So I have to wrap, and here I have my example with length, height, and width, okay? So we have to wrap this nice box. So this side and this side are exactly the same. So this is length times height right here. Right here, okay? And there's 2 of them, 1, 2. And then we have to wrap this side, width times height, and there's 2, okay? And 2 of length times width, and here's the width, okay? And there's 2. So, I want you to notice that each of these variables are used twice. Length, width, height, okay? Couldn't be simpler. So, 2 times the length times the width, 4 times 3. Plus 2 times the length times the height, 4 times 2. Plus 2 times the width times the height, 3 times 2. Okay? And they can be in any order, of course. 2 times 4 times 3 is 24. 2 times 4 times 2 is 16. 2 times 3 times 2 is 12. Okay? 40, 52 feet squared, because area is a squared relationship. Okay, now we have the volume. This is another super easy problem. Think of the swimming pool in your backyard maybe. You want to fill it with water. So I open it up and I fill it with water or sand or whatever, gravel, grass seed, whatever you're going to fill. And it's length times width times height. 4 times 3 is 12 times 2 is 24 feet. What's the units? Think about it. Think. Volume is cubic. There we go. Okay. One more problem. Okay, this is our last problem, and I saved the hardest for last. I'm sorry. This is a right, as in upright, circular cylinder. Okay? Think of a can of Pringles or any can in your pantry. I have my dog's food here for you to look at, okay? For this you have a height and a radius, okay? A radius. There's your radius. Can you see it? Let me put it in a little darker for you. There's the radius. If you're given a diameter, be sure to cut it in half. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to cover this entire can without overlapping the paper in wrapping paper to give it as a gift to my dogs, okay? So, pi r squared, you know, is the area of this circle, this bottom. And so there's one pi r squared, and here's another pi r squared. So there's your 2 pi r. Whoops. Then we have to wrap just the paper, and that formula is 2 pi r times the height. Now, if you were in geometry or even algebra, we would develop these formulas, but we're not doing that. We're just taking the formulas at face value. This is an area relationship, so think about what is the units going to be. Okay? And again, it's circular, so I'm not touching the pi. So I go 2 times pi r, sorry, I got ahead of myself, r squared plus 2 pi r times h. I'm filling in, and here's my pi's, and I'm not going to touch them. So I have 25 plus 2, times 2 is 50 pi, plus 2 times 5 times 10 is 100 pi. Then I add them up, and I get 150 pi. And this is an area relationship, so that's millimeters squared, okay? The volume, I open up the can and I fill it, or you fill your water bottles or something, and it's pi r squared times the height. 5 squared is 25 times 10 is 250 pi millimeters squared. Okay, so I will be doing all of 10B on Monday, and that's our last section. I'll be sending out the quiz. Bye-bye.